it's Sam. So today I'm going to be sharing 5 tips with you guys that help me stay motivated while working from home. So I know that a lot of people are new to working from home. I've been working from home for quite a while now. I've been doing YouTube for 10 years and it takes full-time like work hours. It's taken me a long time to figure out kind of like a good structure to stay motivated, to stay productive. And so I figured I would just share my tips with you guys because I know that there are so many people that are now working from home that are not used to working from home. And sometimes it can get a little bit hard to kind of stay focused when you're at home. So the first one is waking up at the same time every day and making sure that you have a set amount of days. So if you normally work Monday through Friday, then choose those days as your work days. If you normally work only 3 days a week, then choose those days as your work days. So whatever your normal schedule is for work, try to incorporate that same schedule at home and then always wake up at the same time. I never film on the weekends. I always make sure that my filming, like the majority of my filming days are Monday through Friday. That's how I know that like, okay, Monday through Friday, I'm going to be filming this. I have this to edit. And then on Sunday or Saturday, if I have like a bonus video where I've already edited and I just have to put it up or I just need to make it live or I have an Instagram post or whatever, it's still work, but it's not like the majority bulk of my work. But I make sure that I wake up at a very similar time every day, Monday through Friday, so that on Saturday or Sunday, let's be real, we don't ever sleep in. We have children and they're like the best alarm clocks in the world. But if you don't have kids, set an alarm and say like, okay, so normally I go into work at 8 o'clock. So I'm going to say that I'm going to let myself sleep in a little bit longer because I don't have to be there at 8. If you don't have to wake up at 6, then why would you want to, you know? So give yourself an extra hour or whatever it is, but make sure that you still wake up at the very similar time every single day. So normally when our kids are in school, I would wake up at 6 because they have to start school at like 7:15. So I would normally wake up at 6 and like that's hard. It sucks. But now that they're not in school, I usually wake up around 7. That's like my time that I'm like, okay, 7 o'clock, that's giving me an extra hour and I can get my breakfast, I can get ready, and then it kind of just like gets us ready for the day. And I feel like when you have a set schedule and kind of like a time that you and I don't like set an alarm, my kids wake me up, but you know, even if it's 7:15, just kind of around that time so that you're not sleeping in during your work days, I feel like that can be a huge unmotivator and it can mess up your whole schedule and then you're like, oh, whatever, this day's lost anyway, like whatever. It just makes such a difference when you kind of have that routine of like waking up at that same time every single day. It like gives you kind of purpose and you're like, okay, I have to wake up. And then on the weekends, you're like, oh, it's the weekend. It feels like a different day because you're getting to sleep in a little bit longer. So that's my first tip. And I feel like that really makes a huge difference. Number 2, and that would be to get up and dressed and showered and all of that stuff that you would normally do to go to work right off the bat. So when you wake up, the days that I kind of like dilly-dally a little bit and I don't get dressed and like showered and wash my face and put all my stuff on immediately, I'm way less productive and way less motivated than I am on the days that I'm like, I wake up, I go right into the bathroom, start doing my skincare routine, my hair routine, whatever it is that I need to do. And like, you don't have to go all out because if you're working from home and you don't have to film like I do, then you don't need to put on an hour's worth of makeup and curl your hair and all this. But just getting showered, putting on your skincare and getting dressed, even if it's just dressing into like another, like getting out of your PJs and like putting comfortable loungewear on. It's just the act of like getting up and splashing some water on your face or showering or whatever your routine is in the morning and like getting out of your PJs or getting dressed. I don't know if you sleep naked, but you know, the act of getting ready to go somewhere, it kind of just like gets you ready for the day and gets you motivated and it's like, oh yeah, put my skincare on, wash my face, done my hair, or you know, if you're not going to do your hair, whatever it is. For me, my job is to look like this. And so obviously for me, when I'm getting ready, even though I'm not going out of the home, my job is to get ready and look like I would as if I was going to a job because I'm getting ready for for filming. I know that's not the case for everybody, but just the act of getting ready and getting dressed and getting out of bed and getting out of your PJs is a huge thing. So yeah, that's a tip that I think makes a huge difference in my routine. And then number 3 would be to set actual work hours and be realistic with those hours. So if you go to a job and it's a 9 to 5 and that's how much time you need and you have an hour lunch break, then you need to think about, do I have the same workload as I would normally if I was going to the job? And you need to give yourself those same work hours. It might be unconventional. It's not going to be a 9 to 5 because if you have kids at home, you might have to work around their homeschooling schedule or, your spouse's schedule, whatever the case may be. I don't know. Everyone is different, but figuring out the amount of hours that you need to accomplish the load that you normally accomplish, and figuring out a set time and a set kind of schedule and routine that will work for you. So for example, if you normally go in 9 to 5, but now you have kids at home and they homeschool from 8 to 12, and you're like, well, I have to be there to help them with homeschooling, then maybe you can do an hour's worth of work in the morning, and then you can have lunch, you can homeschool with them, and then you can take a little break while they're playing in the backyard, do your 2 hours and kind of split it up, and then do the majority of your work once they go to bed at 8 o'clock or whatever time they go. You just kind of have to figure it out, but you have to be realistic with how many hours it takes for you to accomplish your job each day. Normally, when they're in school, my hours would be 7:15 to 5 o'clock. Sometimes it would run a little bit later into 6, but usually, that would be my normal hours. And then I would get a little bit done once they go to bed at usually they go to bed at 7:30 on a school night, and then I would work until about 8:30, and then 9 o'clock would be that's my day done. I'm finished. I'm gonna go ahead and watch a show. Currently, I don't know what time it is. I think it's 6 o'clock in the evening, and I'm filming. So it's kind of gone all over the place. I try to catch it when I can, but I have found myself working a lot more at night because I do want to spend more time with the kids because they are home and I'm enjoying them being home, and I want to be able to be a part of it as well. But I had to film this afternoon because I had another video and I filmed it and I didn't like it, and I don't know, I wanted to redo it again. So I was like, okay, end of the day, I'm like, oh crap, I don't have my video filmed. So Jay was able to take them outside and play so that I could film it and have a nice quiet house, and I'm very lucky to have that. So I'm very fortunate that I have someone home to take the kids for me when I need to film. You really do need to figure out just how many hours a day that you normally work, and can you cut that time in half if you're at home? And if you can't, then you need to make sure that you're taking that same amount of hours, whether it's straight up 9 to 5 or whether it's 9 to 12 and then 1 to 3 and then, and breaking it up. That's for you to decide. But you do need to try and figure out how many hours each day that you will need to accomplish the work that you normally accomplish when you are outside of your home. So I think that makes a huge difference, and you do have to be realistic. And if you think, I can get this done, I do this all the time, where I'll be like, oh yeah, Jay will be like, okay, how much time do you need to film? And I'm like, oh, it's probably gonna be 30 minutes, not much. And it ends up I'm filming for 2 hours. So, and he'll be like, babe, realistically, don't fluff me. How much time do you actually need? And I'll be like, okay, I need 3 hours. And then he'll be like, okay, cool. And that way it's you have a realistic time frame of how much you actually need to how much time you actually need to accomplish what you need to accomplish. So try not to fluff yourself and be like, oh, I can get this done really fast. If you need that time, you need that time. You need to figure out where you can steal that time from your day if you do have children. If you don't have children, you're swell. You can literally just work all day at home and you're fine. But it is harder when you have kids at home because they're loud. And if you're home, even though that they have daddy who is dedicated to them, they're like, Mom. And I'm like, we have another human being in the home that is for you. And they're like, oh, Mom, can I do this? And I'm like, I'll literally have my headphones in. My headphones will be in. And they're like, Mom. And then Jay is in the kitchen. And I'm like, why don't they ask him? He's literally right there. So we have that. It's very irritating. I don't know why kids do that, but it's like, I don't know, maybe moms are just like, in our house, Jay is the stricter one, and I probably let them get away with a little bit more, so they always want to come to me first, because if they want a snack, then I'll be like, yeah, that's fine, and then he'll be like, you don't need to snack, you can wait for dinner. So I think that's probably what happens. But it's like, if your kids see you, even if you have your headphones in, if you're trying to work, if you are like, you could be in an office, they will still come and find you versus trying to find the person that's there for them. So I don't know what it is. That's it. It happens to us all the time. And that is like one of the things that is like really hard to get through when you are working from home and your kids are now home with you, is that even though you're working from home, they see you there and they're like, mom, 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 mom. They want your attention. So we've adjusted our schedule to where it kind of just, you just steal time when you can. And like I said, I'm very lucky that I have Jay. He takes care of so many things for me so that I am able to, you know, dedicate as much time as I do for my channels. But it is hard when you have your kids home and you want to be with them, and you want to go do yard work together, and you want to go on little walks and bike rides and things. Like, it is difficult trying to like find the balance of like working from home, but then also being like, I want to join in on the fun as well. So that is something that I struggle with. But then, you know, you do have to be like, okay, stop. You got to eat, friend, so get to work. Giving yourself lunch breaks is huge when working from home, because if you don't, you will feel like all you're doing is working and working and working and working, and you're not like, if you were at a job, you get a lunch break. You get to go and have lunch, or you get to take a lunch or whatever. So you do need to do that, because it can just consume your life. And like, I can get so caught up, like when the kids are normally in school, I'll forget to eat, and Jay will be like, babe, like, luckily he makes me lunches. When the kids are at school and like I have my dedicated set hours, like he makes my lunch, and then he'll say, okay, it's lunchtime, you need to take your break, and then I will take my break. So I'm terrible about that. I get sucked in, and I think the computer does that to you, or when you're filming, you just lose track of time. So taking that lunch break, whether it's an hour or in half an hour, whatever you want to do. My lunch breaks are a little bit longer now that the kids are home, and like usually we'll go sit outside in the grass. We'll have a little lunch picnic out there, and then I'll sunbathe for a little bit while they play in the yard. And so I do take a little bit longer. Normally, like when they're in school, it's like half an hour, and now it's like an hour. Or if you just want to go for a little walk around your neighborhood and just get some fresh air, take your dog out or whatever. But do take a break, because it really does help break up the day, and it kind of just like lets you still enjoy your home. Otherwise, it can kind of like, when you work from home, it's kind of difficult because your job is also where you live, and where you live is your job. And sometimes it's like hard to like distinguish the two. So I do feel like taking that break and taking lunch and just taking that moment to be like, okay, you gotta step away for a moment and kind of get some fresh air and fresh thinking, and not just like work, 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 work. Especially for the computer, it's important to like take a break from your eyes, for your eyes. I do have blue light glasses, which I do recommend. They're amazing. Anyone who works on the computer should be doing that. It really does help the eyes with just straining with the blue light. It can be quite harsh, so I highly recommend those. I got some from Walmart, and they're amazing. And they're kind of cute too. But yeah, I just feel like you do need to take a break and just take a step away from your work for a moment. Sit down all together, eat your lunch. We have a rule, no tech at the table. It makes such a huge difference. We don't have iPads, we don't have phones. When we're eating at the table, we are eating. We're conversating with each other. We are enjoying each other's company. We're talking about our day. We are talking about, you know, what we're excited for. And it's just a really nice time to come together, and like, it's important for the kids as well when they are at home from school with you and you're working. It's nice for them to know that like you're taking that time to like eat lunch with them, and like you're not just ignoring them all day long, because the reality is when they're at school, they don't know what you're doing. But now that they see that you're just working all day, they're like, oh, mom's not talking to me as much. And like, it's kind of a bummer for them. So it's nice to like take that moment so that you guys can just all sit down as a family and enjoy some lunch. I do recommend doing that. I think it just makes such a huge difference in not only your day, but like everyone else's day as well. Number 4 would be to work out your week ahead of time. So usually on a Sunday night, once the kids have gone to bed, I will take a moment just to figure out what I need to plan for the next week. So Sunday is nice because then I know Monday morning it's fresh in my mind, like, okay, here's what I have to do. And I will prioritize the things that I need to get done first. So for me, it's obviously easy because I'm like, okay, well, this video needs to go up first because it's a sponsored video, or this one they've said that they want on Friday. So I have a calendar on my computer and I put where I need to put each video and what Instagram post has to go up on what day, and what I need to film that day, what I need to edit that day, what I need to upload, what I need to make live, which links I need to do. So I have it all figured out so that on Sunday night, I have my whole week planned for that Monday through Friday. And it just makes it easier so that Monday morning, I'm like, okay, cool. Monday morning, I need to film my 5 tips for working from home. And I know that that's what I'm going to be filming and that's what I'm going to be editing. And then I know that, okay, so Thursday I have to film I have to film this. So I know that it's not going to be a makeup tutorial, it's going to be this, so it's going to be slightly different. So it just kind of makes it easier for me so that I know what I'm getting into for the week. And I feel like when you are working from home and you don't have that set, like, I'm off to work, okay, bye, you do have to be very structured and you do have to have your set week so that you have your goals and you know what you need to do. So that makes a huge difference for me, and I like to do it on my computer because then sometimes plans do change. If I've sent over a video for approval and it's not going to be going live when it was supposed to go live, then I can just change it to a different day versus having to erase and all that kind of stuff in like an actual planner, because YouTube world is a little bit, it just never goes to plan. Jay and I work together and we have been for such a long time. So we have little meetings in the morning, but I think this can also be used for people who are both, if you have both people that are used to working outside of the home and now you are working back in the home together, and maybe you have kids at home, figuring out together what each person needs to accomplish for their week and how you can work together so that, maybe one of you has a really important business conference call and your kids have to be quiet. Then the other person can be like, okay, well, I'm going to take the morning and I'll take the kids for you while you're doing your important business call. And then you take them in the afternoon when I'm doing my stuff. So it's kind of like you really have to compromise and like figure out each other's times and like what works. And again, this is if you have kids. If you don't have kids, like, honestly, you have it so easy. You can just dedicate your whole day to working and you don't have to worry about it. But it is harder when you have kids because you don't want to ignore you don't want to just stick them on an iPad all day long. Coming together, and like, I'm very fortunate because Jay is home to take care of the home, take care of the kids, help me with everything that I need. He is just really organized, which is great because I am slightly unorganized. So he will have a meeting with me and we'll, in the morning, I'll discuss like, okay, here's what I have to film today. Here's what I have to edit. I will need this many hours for this. I'll need you to keep them quiet for this. I have a phone call at this time. We have a package that needs to be picked up. We have this that needs to be sent off. We have groceries. What are you planning for dinner? So it's kind of like, it's like our little morning meeting that we do so that we are both in the loop of what's going on and what needs to be accomplished that day so that he knows what he has to do and I know what I have to do. And that really makes a huge difference. So for me, planning on Sunday makes it so that I know each morning, okay, today I have to do this, babe. This is what I need from you. Tuesday, today I have to do this. I need you to do this. And it just makes it just keeps everything running smoothly and keeps everything, it can be stressful, especially when you are working from home, you have kids and you're working with your spouse as well, and everyone is around. You gotta try and keep things as smooth as you possibly can. So yeah, that's definitely something that I think is a huge tip and it really, really helps me out. And then my last tip, and I think this is a struggle for a lot of people, is staying off of social media when you are working. And I know that you can get really suckered when you're working from home and like no one is telling you like, hey, what are you doing? I don't even know if that happens anymore. I'm just pretending if I was at a job. I don't know if people do that anymore. I'm assuming they do. I mean, if I was an owner of a company, I wouldn't want so-and-so scrolling on Instagram all day. I would be super irritated. I feel like trying to not get suckered into the Instagram scroll little, you know what I mean? It steals your time. It takes so much of your time that you don't even realize. you're using it, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I've been sitting on the toilet for half an hour scrolling at Instagram. Obviously my job is social media, so I do have to post on Instagram, I do have to do stories, I do have to reply to people, I get a lot of DMs, but I am very, very, like, I don't have my phone up here with me right now because I know I'm not looking up a product. Normally I have my phone if I'm looking at products, but knowing when to pick up your phone is very important when you're working from home. If you know that you have like some super major work to do not have your phone distracting you. Don't get suckered into like looking at who's, oh, so-and-so's rich. Oh, so-and-so's skinny. Oh, look at her. She's been doing this. Don't do it. It will steal your time, and time is so valuable. So finding a moment, if you need to just if you have a bathroom break and you're like, I know it's going to be a minute, take your phone, do a little scrolling while you're on it, but don't get suckered into getting stuck on the toilet for 30 minutes. It happens to the best of us. If you live alone and you are at home and you've got no one to talk to, then perfect. That would be your time to scroll. Maybe while you're eating dinner, you can just have a look at like what's going on. But then, or lunch, you're on your lunch break, have a look. But then once you know your lunch break is over, go back to work and don't get stuck on Instagram. That for me is the thing. I feel like Instagram is like just one of those places where like all of a sudden it's like space. It's like it was 1 minute ago and now it's like 30 minutes. Like where did my time go? I don't understand. That is what Instagram is for me personally, whether it's Facebook for you or Instagram or Pinterest or whatever. Just making sure that if it's a work day, just don't do it. Find a time, do it later when you're all finished. When you are all finished with work, then you can start scrolling and creeping on so-and-so. But try not to like let it steal your work hours, because that really can happen and it's unfortunate. And time is money. And if you get behind, then it gets you stressed, and then you're stressed out with your kids, and you're stressed out with your husband, and you're stressed out with yourself, and then your neck breaks out, and then it's all stressful. So don't do it. But there's my tips. Hopefully you guys have found them helpful. For me personally, like this is what works, and I've done it for a very long time and I've figured it out. And like obviously for now, like we have changed up our routine all over again because our kids are home full time and they're doing homeschooling, and you know, it's switched up, and now the weather is warmer. The weather is what gets me. When I see the sun and like when it is warm outside, I'm like, what am I doing in here? I'm not working. I want to go outside. But then I make up for it in the evening. When the sun goes down, then I'm like, okay, I got to stay up. I can't watch my shows. I have to go back to work, and then I'll just stay up later and I'll work till like, I don't know, 12 or 11, and I'll just get a little bit extra work done once the kids go to sleep, because I'm trying to get my tan. I'm trying to get a real tan here without self-tanner. So that's just one of those things that if you do want to take a little bit more time in the day with your children, or you want to sunbathe, or you want to get some yard work done, or whatever it is that you want to do, you got to figure out where you can take the time from at a different time so that you can still make up for the hours that you lost sunbathing your booty or playing with your kids. I will have this makeup look coming very soon, so stay tuned. Then I also have a video where it's just like a super chill, like I didn't even talk, I don't think. It's like a little transformation video, and it's like really not meant to be like useful, but it's just kind of like fun to just like zone out and watch and listen to the music. So that'll be coming up as well. So definitely stay tuned for that. But I hope that you guys found this helpful and enjoyed. I hope that you guys are staying safe and well and sane in these very trying times. Another tip that I forgot about, having a clean home. When the house is a mess, I'm like, oh my god, that mess over there. Oh my gosh, this mess over here. I can't focus in this. So I always feel like if your house is tidy, like maybe do that. It's like Sunday, get all your cleaning done, so that Monday it's like, oh, my house is so clean. I don't have any cleaning to do. I can just focus on work. So trying to keep it tidy throughout the week really does help, because I feel like when you're having a cluttered, messy house, your mind is messy and cluttered, and it really distracts me. I hate mess. And so that really can be a huge, like, I literally like, oh, look at that mess over there. I can't focus right now. Like, I can't even edit this video because there's mess over there staring at me. And so I feel like trying to keep it as tidy as possible really does help. And so the weekends usually is like when we'll do our like real major cleaning. But you know, that always just makes me feel better. When you have a clean home, I feel like you can be a little bit more productive as well. But that wasn't supposed to be on my tips, but it is a small tip. So now I'm finished. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Mwah. Bye. Oh, it's Friday. Happy weekend. I hope you guys all enjoy your weekend. Make sure that you keep your weekends. Try not to work as much on your weekends. Try to take that time for your family or for yourself or for your husband or wife. try not to let work take over. It's really hard when you work from home. I do it all the time. I'm super guilty. Jay is constantly being like, so I've gotten a lot better. I used to be terrible. I didn't even have set days off. Well, that's because we used to blog, so we never had a day off. But I've been a lot better the last year about like my weekends are not for work. Occasionally it does happen. There will be a little bit where I'm like, I have to do this post or this has to go up. But for the most part, just try to relax and like get as much enjoyment out of your weekends as possible. And then it won't seem so bad. And then on Friday, you'll be like, oh, it's Friday, thank goodness. And then you can really enjoy your weekend like you would if you were going to a job. So, okay, now I've given you 7 tips. So I'm going to go until I like give you 12. Okay, love you. Mwah!